Okay, we are live and ready to go. Thank you guys all for joining me again for another fun live stream. Try to pull up, I should pull up something like maybe a white screen. That might help with just getting it, let's do that. Yeah, there we go. We have a little bit more brightness now. That should help it out a little bit. And then I need to pull up the actual live stream itself so then I know what I'm doing. And I can see everything, and there we go. That's looking pretty good. All right. Of course, as soon as I start this, I start getting messages and everything like that. I guess that's usually how it goes with these sort of things. And I'll just message him, put that down, and let's go ahead and get started. So, last week we didn't have the live stream. We were, my producer and I were actually in Aomori, and we were doing a shakuhachi festival there. And we had a wonderful time. It was a really, really great festival. There's a video coming up soon featuring everything that went on there. I'm very happy with how all the classes went. I loved all the guest teachers. I thought they did a fantastic job. Yeah, no, I have no complaints over there. And so that video will be coming up soon. That will be on this Friday. So you can go and check the YouTube channel and you're able to pull that up. I'm unable to see my live chat right now, so I don't think it's a big deal that if I don't see the live chat at this very moment. But sometimes the live chat on YouTube is all wonky and doesn't upload right away, which could be sometimes kind of frustrating. And then I grabbed the wrong video there now. See, I'm trying to grab 6 different things at once and trying to get the stuff to work how I want it to work, but whatever. All right, so what is our topics for today? Well, our topics for today is just to talk about a little bit about what we did at the festival because there was so much going on. It was such a great event. So we had everything from, first off, we did it in Aomori this time in the city Hirosaki, which is famous for Kimpu-ryu Shakuhachi. And we had two Kimpu-ryu experts. We had Nick Belando from Honon Shakuhachi, and we also had Dr. Yamada. And it was just great. I mean, we learned a lot about the komibuki technique. We learned the piece Matsukaze, and we heard a ton of performances, just loaded with performances. And not just of Shakuhachi, we also had a lot of Tsugaru Jamisen players. We had lots of Minyo players. It was just honestly just packed with so much cool stuff. And now the live stream thing works, where we have I can actually see people type in things. So welcome in all those who are here. And but I think that we also learned a little bit about the Tsugaru dialect. We went to Hirosaki Castle. We went to one of the shrines where historically all of the Kimpu-ryu players used to go and practice. And actually it's where Dr. Yamada took his lessons for 10 years. In the same place in the building. He rode his bike over there to this little pavilion area, and then he hung out there and had lessons with his teacher. So it was a really cool place to be and just, live a little bit of history, play a couple tunes there, and have a little tiny Kimpu-ryu lesson. So with that being said, there's a lot of really cool polls that you guys answered, and I was very excited to hear a lot about how you guys practiced. So one of the questions I had for you, and I had 63 responses on this one, on how long do you practice shakuhachi each day? Less than 30 minutes, 30 minutes to an hour, 1 to 2 hours, or more than 2 hours? And what's really nice to see is that you guys tend to be really balanced practicers. So most of you put 30 minutes to an hour. And honestly, what I recommend to my students is I say that you should practice your shakuhachi as long as your lesson is. All right, so if you take a 30-minute lesson, you should have 30 minutes of practice every single day. If you have an hour-long lesson, you should practice an hour each day. And that's honestly is good, right? That's a good amount. Now, I think if you want to make extreme progress and you really want to be a professional, it's going to have to be 1 to 2 hours or more than 2 hours a day. But you got to be very careful with more than 2 hours. If you're really doing intense practice sessions, 2 hours should be enough. That doesn't include warm-up. It doesn't include playtime. It doesn't include all the other things. I'm just talking about in-depth practice session. Good morning, Craig, or good afternoon. And Good to see you. Good afternoon, good evening. Robert, also good evening. You are here in Japan as well, so I'm really excited to see you next week. Robert was at the festival. He said he had an okay time. All right, next question that we had on the poll, which we had 85 answers to, what is your preferred shakuhachi length? Is it the 1.6, 1.8, 2.0, 2.3, 2.4, or other? And this one wasn't a surprise to me. 61% of you came back with a 1.8 answer, and I thought I think that's probably about right. This one next poll though was really interesting to me, because this is something that I thought people cared a lot more about, and it seems that it's not the case actually. So I asked, and I got 58 votes on this one. And I asked, which aspect of playing the shakuhachi is most important to you? Is it the tone quality? Is it technique, emotional expression, or accuracy in traditional repertoire? Now, I thought that the answer I was going to get, I thought it was going to be accuracy in traditional repertoire. And only 7% of people answered that. And then my thought after that was tone quality, which was 38%. And then technique was my one after that, which only got 7%. And then the one that I thought, like, well, maybe it's important, but it's not the most important, was emotional expression. But that was number one. So interesting. I learned something very new about all of you. And this next question, too, also had really interesting things. And I want to spend a little bit of time on this one. The question was, have you ever experienced performance anxiety while playing shakuhachi? And they have 49 votes for it. Yes, often, sometimes, rarely, or never. And 55% of you said yes, often. And there was a really interesting comment here which says, I get over mine by listening or by playing in the woods for the animals. Every once in a while, some hiker will stop to listen. So there's experience happening that's helping one to to get better about not being so nervous or basically getting shaken up when you're on the playing for people. And honestly, for most people, what happens is that they go too big too quickly. And I think a great way to just start playing is you play for one person, and then you play for two, and you try playing for 4, and then 8, and then 16. You notice how I'm just doubling every single time. And then there's going to be a point where the numbers get big enough where it won't affect you. But it really does have to be gradual, right? I've had concerts where I've had like 1,000 people in the audience. And for the average person, that would be just absolutely terrifying. The number one fear in America is public speaking. Not death. Actually, I think number 3 is spiders. But number 2 is death. I think that was the one, or not necessarily death itself, but the process of dying was what was number 2. So, but stage fright, talking in front of an audience is number 1. And I think it's because people jump too quickly to, so many people, right? Think of like when you had like classroom presentations, like when you were a kid. Some people still had struggled with that a lot. But after you do it again and again, like you start again, small numbers. And then as you get bigger and bigger and bigger, it gets better. Robert's asking, what do the different colors dragons mean? So the different colors in the dragons just indicate how long you have been in the studio. So the green is the shortest amount of time. The blue one is the second shortest time. Red is the third, or like one of the longer ones, and then the purple one is the longest. So you've been here for more than a year. How do you guys prefer to practice? 84 votes. Okay, 74% of you said solo, which I get that, but I do think that alongside, like in a group, maybe even if with a friend, I think would be a great way to practice too. Having someone just to be there, that would also work on the performance anxiety and stuff. Now here's one that was just like almost just straight flat across the board. You guys answered very evenly. I was very surprised about this. What's the most difficult part of learning a new shakuhachi piece? Understanding the phrasing, controlling the breath, memorizing notes, or achieving the right tone? 23%, 37%, 19%, 22%. 37% had the winner in this one, and so I'll take a little bit on the controlling of the breath and kind of answer that what I think might help. which is if you think about where your belly button is and then just right below that, that's where your tanden is. It's like the core of all your sound. If you put just a little bit of extra oomph in there, like it's almost like pushing out, that's going to help you a lot with controlling your breath. And a lot of times people think that we have to blow into the shakuhachi, but in reality, you only have to breathe into it. You can get a very wide dynamic range through just breathing in through the instrument. All right, I want a couple more polls to get through before we get into today's live stream questions, if there are any, and if they're not, then we end it. Okay, what is your approach to overcoming performance anxiety? Meditation, deep breathing, visualization, or experience and repetition. So meditation got 6%, deep breathing got 15, visualization got 11, and experience and repetition got 68. And I think experience and repetition is the strongest one. I do see that one has helped most of my students more than anything else. Okay. Another thing that was interesting too, and this was improving your shakuhachi practice. Let me see here. Emotional expression. I wanted to skip a couple of these. This was one. This is one I wanted to go over. Okay, 57 votes on this one. How often do you record yourself playing shakuhachi for review? Never, 32%. There's a problem with that. Occasionally, 54%. Often, 7%. Every practice session, 7%. So, never and every practice session are both wrong. Okay, I wouldn't use those. I think it should be a balance between occasionally and often. Occasionally, I would say once a week. Often, I would say maybe twice a week. And the reason why you don't want to do it every single practice session is because you have to get away from trying to overcorrect every single thing that you do, and you're always going to find mistakes when you record and listen back to yourself. You've got to find time to just actually be hands-on with the instrument and not be overly concerned about every single mistake that you're making. But that being said, you should still do it. You should definitely record yourself and listen back. And if you have an iPhone, video yourself playing. It's great stuff. Like, you really will get a lot out of it. It's very important, and especially if you want to become a better player. Okay, another really important one. And we only have one more after this one, so just two more left. How do you handle mistakes during a performance? Okay, 52 votes on this one. Keep going as nothing happens, 73%. Acknowledge it, then move on, 13%. Pause and correct, 2%. Avoid performing until it's flawless, 12%. Okay, avoid performing until it's flawless. Okay, look, again, we're never going to get there, right? I make mistakes every single concert I play. You're never going to do a perfect performance, right? And if you do, then you should quit the instrument, right? Because you've already mastered it. There's nothing else to do. Pause and correct. And I know that you might not mean that you're going to do this because that's your intended plan, but that ends up what ends up happening. But we want to avoid this at all costs because music is a temporal art, right? It's the timing that goes through it, right? Unlike a painting, if you make a mistake, you can go over it and fix it. Like, let's say if you're doing oil painting, right? In this case, with our art, if you make a mistake, you've got to move on. And I think the best answer for this one is actually keep going as if nothing happened. Because if you acknowledge it, it shows in your face. And I'm terrible about this, right? I sometimes acknowledge it by showing it in my face, like, oh, I messed up. And, the thing is that the audience member probably has no idea. And I would actually be willing to say that the audience member absolutely doesn't know. Even if they are shakuhachi players, they might not always know, because that doesn't mean they necessarily know the piece. And there's a lot of leeway, especially in the traditional music and even in the contemporary music. There's a lot of things that even if you made a quote-unquote mistake, sometimes they're only noticeable to you. So keep going as if nothing happened. Craig asked this: do you think it's all right for me to play purely by ear? I like the traditional pieces, but I don't need the notation if I go along with your YouTube lessons. Well, the notation is only here to serve as a reminder. I think it's nice to have the notation because let's say, you get into the habit, let's say you learn the piece Sanya and you absolutely love Sanya. You start playing Sanya every single day. You're really enjoying it and you've done it for 3 months. And then you say, oh, but I really want to learn this other piece. And then you start focusing on the other piece and you haven't played Sanya now for 3 months. And then you forget Sanya. You're going to want to have that notation with you so that you can bring it out back and then say, oh, that's right. That's how that goes. So in the long run, I do think that as the pieces accumulate, you're going to want to do that. In the old schools, like let's say in Kimpuryu, right? In Kimpuryu, they only have 10 pieces. It's really not difficult to memorize 10 pieces. But like in my school, we teach a bunch of pieces from different regions and different temples and so on and so forth. So we learned most of the Kimpuryu pieces. We learned some Kinko-ryu pieces. We learned some Tozan-ryu pieces. We learned some Ueda-ryu. Then we learned some Yowan-ryu. And then we learned Kyushu pieces and Oshu pieces. You get the point, right? Before you know it, you have 100 pieces plus that you're learning. And you're like, how am I going to memorize all this? You know it? Yeah, and you can't. And even for myself, like I have a lot of these pieces memorized, but I don't go up on stage and just say I'm going to play these pieces from memory, because it's especially when you have that many that you're playing like in a cycle, it's very easy to go, oh wait, how does it go again? Especially when you're under pressure. So I wouldn't do it that way. But if you're in a school that you're only going to learn 10 pieces and that's it and you're fine with that, yeah, then memorize them. Okay, last one. What's your biggest focus in your shakuhachi practice this month? You got 30 votes on this one. It's still the newest one. This is actually only 18 hours ago. So hopefully we'll get a few more answers for this and we'll kind of reference this one next week as well. Developing better tone, expanding repertoire, building confidence and performance, or improving technical skills. And this one is a clear winner. It's developing better tone, 63%. And I'm glad that it's this one, because the more, if you develop your tone, it does all the other ones. Maybe not expanding the repertoire, but it builds your confidence in performing, and it is improving your technical skills already by doing that. And you'll hear the technical flaws by having a better tone and a better basis for your playing. So those are the polls for this week. I thought that you guys, thank you guys so much for answering them first off. That was really helpful because it helps me know also what you want to know more about in the shakuhachi world, and what you want to learn and what you want to get out of all your honkyoku stuff. So yes, thank you very much for all of that. So it doesn't look like we have any questions today for that, other than the ones that Robert and Craig asked. If there's any other questions that you guys would like to ask, please feel free. As a little courtesy thing, I want to pull up the schedule for next week, because this is actually important in regards to the live streams. So the next week live stream, and I do see your question, Herbert. I'll get to that in just 1 second. So I want to look at number 12. Yeah, so next week is at 11 a.m. That's no problem. The week after that is at 1 p.m. But I need to check my schedule, because I believe that there's something happening on that 18th. Yes, I'm going to be performing at an elementary school, but I don't have the time for it yet. So I need to see if the live stream number 13 is going to be interrupted somehow. And hopefully not. Hopefully that we can just leave it on a schedule, but usually they are pretty much early afternoon things. I've been wanting to do the daily life as a shakuhachi player, featuring doing one of the schools, but with basically with being at the school, you can't really film inside the school. And then if I did, it would have to be like 10 hours of editing all the children's faces out, and I'm just I don't want to do that. But it's so much fun to go there and play for them. I like doing like a lot of the anime songs and some kind of funny sounds on the shakuhachi that they really enjoy and whatnot. So I'm looking forward to going there again. And I really wanted to share that with you all, but I just don't think it's going to happen. So if the live stream number 13 happens to change, I'll most likely change it to the morning session. So we'll have two of them in a row that are at 11 a.m. So 11 a.m. that is Japan Standard Time. Now, before we get to Herbert's question, don't forget that we are still giving away another shakuhachi. And that shakuhachi is at the end of this month. So if you sign up for the Taidu membership, it's right down below here. Hit that join button. There are 4 levels that give you a chance to win the shakuhachi. Shoden level trial gives you 1 ticket Second level gives you 2, third level gives you 5, and the fourth level gives you 10. And there's so many lessons and perks and all this stuff that goes into it, so it's worth having the subscription anyways. If you haven't liked this video yet, like the video. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. Okay, let's get on to Herbert's question. Okay, Herbert says, hello, did you ever experience scratches on the inner coat caused by running through the metal pearl of the cleaning cloth? I don't believe so. I don't think that that's ever happened. Because urushi is very, very strong. Now, if you have some sort of major scratch that's happening by going through the metal pole, my first thought would be maybe it's not urushi. The other thing that I would be thinking is you must have thrown that ball really hard down the down the flute, like just kind of throw it in there and go, ugh, no more spit today, right? But I don't think that's the case. So, it's something that I would just be careful of in general. I have my cleaning cloth here too. So when you're placing the metal ball into the flute, you just like this, right? And it can slide down the back and then slowly let it go through. That way you would avoid any of those cracking, or not cracking, but like scratching it. But even if I just check into my flute now, I don't see any like scratches or dents or anything like that. I just see the natural kind of like the shokunin marks, where all of the, like how he was putting the urushi in, but there's nothing like a crack that, or I don't know why I keep saying crack, but there's no like scratches or anything like that are really apparent to me. So it really shouldn't do that at all. Again, it would be something that you would have to like really, chuck the metal ball down the flute and whatever. So hopefully that's not the case, but okay, so Craig says, here's another question, just a quick question. Where's abouts on your websites can I find the first two a month ago, a few months ago, but I can't remember where, and I'm getting old, I guess. Yeah, we're all getting old. So I'll pull it up for you, and I'll send that link out. I think it's just easier to do it that way. And it seems that we are having a little bit of lag problem here, but it's not the worst thing in the world. So let me go ahead and pull up the store. This is the notation portion here. And I think if I just do this, scores and calligraphy, then they all show up. Yeah. So here you are. Here are all of the scores and the calligraphies right there. Yeah, not a problem, Herbert. Yeah, I really wouldn't worry about putting the metal ball through the shakuhachi. I think it's going to be if you had some like major scratches that were coming through it by putting the metal ball in, it would have to be through like throwing it or like shaking it while it's inside the shakuhachi. I've never seen that. So yeah, and so I just posted the link here for the Shanghai Music Store. So we have all the scores that are originally made out of our studio. So original pieces like Kabuto Mushi Uta, Tsuki, Sanso no Yugure, which are by other composers from the early 1900s. Banshiki, Kyore, Honshirabe, Unjikan, which is mine. We have some Western notation. We have some minyo and some lullabies, as well as some children's songs, all up on the website for sale. So all of your purchases help me and the live streams and the whole entire studio so that we can do more things. So your support and purchases are greatly appreciated. And as another reminder that we are still giving away another shakuhachi when we are at the end of the month, which is going to be November 25th. And that is basically just through signing up through the membership. So you hit the join button. There's 4 options there. First level 1 ticket, second level 2 tickets, third level 5 tickets, and the fourth level, you guys already know what I'm going to say, 10 tickets. So there you go. Sign up and get access to a bunch of content and maybe win a flute. Now, Robert's asking, when is the next score drop? Robert, you are as much in anticipation for this one as I am. All right, I was hoping that it was going to be on the 15th of October, but it's not. We're still waiting. And the reason why we're waiting longer for this next set of 4 is because we're actually putting together the new Shoden book, which is in a much, like, it's all of the scores included in one. And it's going to be for people who are studying with me only. They'll get a special discount when they're one-on-one lessons with me, and they can purchase the whole book. But the last 4 scores that we're putting in there are both the Western score and the Japanese score for the Ghost of Tsushima stuff. So we have 4 of those coming out. That's going to be up on the website very soon. And then we're going to start working on our own scores for like Hifumi Hachigaeshi, Solmu Kaeji, and a bunch of other works so that we have a consistent Honkyoku notation throughout all of our books. And of course, all of those books will be, or all, not all the books, but all of those individual pieces will be for sale and available for purchase on my website, where you can instantly download them as a PDF. And you have 24 hours to download them and print them out. And after that, it goes whoosh, and it's gone. So, okay. Let's see here. Any other questions about shakuhachi stuff? I'd like to do at least 30 minutes today. Maybe we can go over to about 40 minutes. So will I do more of the OST scores, such as Seikiro? It depends. If there's like major desire for a couple scores, then I'll definitely have them done. But in general, not really. I don't see any of those, happening. Now, the problem with Seikiro is that, the shakuhachi is so atmospheric in that piece that there's not always like clear melodic themes that come out. And even if there were those things, which there are some of them, it's backed with such lush, thick harmonies with the orchestra and stuff. And you really need all of the parts to it. There is one cool scene though, where it's one of the, what are the guys called when you go into like the heavenly realm, and they are kind of like look like fish people? I can't remember. Ancient dragons. You have the ancient dragon people, and you have to kill one of them when you're in the underground water area, and it's right before the corrupted monk, and you have one of the guys who's playing flute, and you come up behind him and get him, and that one is that guy's playing Shinobue. We have a question about the carbon fiber flutes. Let me grab that really quickly. Okay, so we do have an update for the carbon fiber flute. So Dragon Energy, thank you so much for the question. And hey, are you subscribed to this channel? Doesn't look like you're subscribed to this channel. You should subscribe to this channel and join the membership. Anyways, so let's answer your question about the carbon fiber flutes. So yes, we have an update for them. They're sounding great. They're looking great. We are only at this point just waiting for Mr. Belando to make the website page so that we can sell these bad boys. Now, if it comes to be the fact that Nick is going to be really slow with making the website pages, I will make my own website page for it and then have it up and ready. I'd really like to have it up by the middle of November, right? Our advertisement video is done, and I almost want to give you guys like a little teaser of it. I almost want to, but I'm not going to, because I don't want to spoil the surprise, you see? And the surprise is very, very important. But we ran into one little problem with them, which was just making them more sturdy, right? And so we did kind of a throw test. And so we threw one against the ground as hard as we possibly could, and it did break. And we want to avoid that. We want to make it so that they're extremely sturdy, so that if you're hiking and you drop it, there's nothing that happens to it. So that took us just a little bit more time to build it, so it's even stronger and more sturdy. But that is basically where we're at right now, and they're ready. They're so ready to go. It's just all of the business things on the website. Now, so after this, after the 1.8, we will be making a longer flute version of it. We will be making a 2.4 or one that's an A, 2.3, 2.4, depending on how you call it the measurements. However, with the 2.3, 2.4, we actually have to make the flute first with real bamboo. Then once that's made, then we can say, okay, what do we like about this flute? And then we can edit it from there and, build it so it becomes a really great 2.4 Jinashi flute. And then at that point, then we scan it, and then we're going to edit it, and then we're going to do all the stuff that goes in afterwards. It's a ton of work. So just please stay tuned. We will get there. And there's actually One of the flutes, I already have an idea for it. So actually, I don't think we actually need to make the flute because one of the 8-0 flutes is already there, and I really like that flute a lot. And we'll make that flute the model. So it's an actual copy of one of the flutes from the Edo era. So thank you for that. That just kind of came to my mind, and now we're gonna do that. And for the 2.4, we will probably do it as a 2-piece flute. For the 1.8s, we will not. The 1.8s they will stay as the Nobekon, but just for the purposes of in practicality of having the longer flute more easily travel, like you can actually travel with it, we will make that one into a 2-piece flute. So I gotta make a note for myself with Nick here now, because can we use that 2.1 8-0 flute as the model for the 2.4 question mark? And he'll say yes. But all right, let's see if there's anything else I wanted to talk about with that. So yes, so once the link is up for this flute here, I will release the video so that you can hear what it sounds like, in full. I recorded I'll tell you what pieces I recorded. Okay, how about that? I recorded Kumoi Jishi, Shingetsu, and Daha. So you get a big range of different styles of playing on this flute. And spoiler alert, it sounds fantastic. I really enjoyed playing it. We actually used this model flute too at the festival last week. So when we were learning the old style pieces, Matsukaze, Nick had a bunch of these printed out in the size of a 1.9, and then we had people use those at the festival, and they sound great, and everybody really enjoyed using them, and they could feel the difference, and they had the old style. So Dragon, yes, they do have urushi on the inside. I don't know if you can see that. I think you might be able to see a little bit of red. I could do this too also. So if you see here, you can see the red lacquer in it, right? And so they are fully lacquered. And if they're not lacquered, it does make it harder to play, just like a real jinashi would be. So if you have a jinashi without lacquer in it, it's much harder to play than when it has with lacquer in it. It gives it a little bit more, sustainability, some clarity to the sound. It also gives you a little bit more volume as well. All right. So that really puts us just over 30 minutes. I'll take just a couple more questions, and then I will go and bother Nick more about when are we going to have flutes? When are we going to have the flute link up? When are we going to have the flute link up? And then he'll just say, in 5 minutes. In 5 minutes. Also, shall for my website first. I'll ask him if he wants to just do it through my website, because, I listen to you guys. I know what you want. You guys want the flutes faster? Fine. Let's give them the flutes faster. We'll figure a way to make it happen. But anyways, I'm very much looking forward to having you guys try these out. I think it's going to be, look, like it's a sturdy stick. My daughter actually has one, but it's pink. It's a pink shakuhachi, and she has one out of pink. And she really likes it. She takes it every single day. Takes it up to her mouth and goes, and then she laughs, and then she points at it and goes, "Dada," right? Because Dada plays the shakuhachi. Okay, so I think that should be good today. Thank you all so much for being patient with me for the live streams. I know that I missed that 1 week and I was late, and tried to be more consistent with them. But hey, when you're at the festival, you're at the festival. And I think that that's pretty much it about today. Next week, like I said, we'll be meeting at 11. I'll have my in-house producer here, as always. And then we are off to Osaka on next week, Monday. And we have some students coming pretty soon. Actually, we have Wednesday, we have someone coming. And we have Friday, someone coming. It's going to be a lot of fun. And let's see if there's anything else I'm missing before. Because a lot of times what happens is I hit that end stream button, and then I remember that I wanted to say something else. Aha! I remember what it is now. Have you joined the membership yet? Have you subscribed to this channel? Have you liked this video? Like the video. Why not? It's one click away. Subscribe to the channel. That's 2 clicks away. And if you join the membership, you get a chance to win a free shakuhachi. It's made out of bamboo by a great maker, Yozan Hikichi. Been making flutes for over 5 decades. 5. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 50 years. Then there's also a bunch of content in there as well. Join the first level 1 ticket, second level 2 tickets, third level 5 tickets, and the fourth ticket, or the fourth level you already know, is 10 tickets. Thank you guys all so much for watching this live stream, and I will see you guys on the next one.